All right, we're on.
Back again.
We're on, Keith. Blizzard or no blizzard, we made it this week.
Yeah, we did, and I haven't seen you for about 40 minutes because we just finished another podcast.
We're just on here full time now.
I know, pretty much full-time job.
It's like ESPN. It really is. I was just doing
minus the millions of dollars, but yeah, probably similar.
And that, we don't argue. We never argue about anything.
Yeah, nope, never.
Sometimes I listen to that during the day and I just argue all day. I'm like, man, that's out on for sound, but that white sound, where they call it. But
so you spent some time fishing today, Marty, right?
Yes, I did. Well, I substituted for 5th grade and 2nd grade this morning, did some science projects, and then at 10:30, I was done, 10:45 or so, and I came home, and the weather was such that I was like, I got to go fishing. And I went fishing down to local ponds about 5 blocks, and I laid in some trout, man.
Sweet.
And it was a blast. And then tonight, the blizzard hit.
Trout, you told me you got a trifecta, didn't you? Get some crappie and bass in there too?
I caught a bass and I caught a bunch of trout. Yeah, it was a good day. So yeah, really good day. And we got some good ones this week here again, man. It keeps getting better. We got Chad Davison from Missouri. Chad is like Mr. Missouri when it comes to kayak fishing, just so you know. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he wins.
I do know that since you told me that.
Yeah. He wins everything there.
Yeah.
We don't have a chance. And I've tried to follow him. He loses you. You know, you can't find the guy. I've never seen him on the lake fishing in all the tournaments I fished with him. He's like just invisible. So
nice.
One of these days I'll figure that out. Who knows? But he's great. He's great. And then Gregory, I may have seen him just once as well. He goes as far up as he can get into those rivers, and he's the best at it. And nobody, now remember, he's paddled most of his career in kayak fishing. And
right.
He runs a boat that he designed himself.
Yep. And
who has won 10 Bassmaster titles in the short amount of time that he has against the best in the world in kayak fishing? I mean, so we got 2 guys on here that can absolutely fish, but obviously can also trick out their kayak to meet their needs. Does that make sense?
Totally. And we've even got Drew, who got his kids to bed on time.
Yeah.
And still made the show.
Yeah. And before that, though, we got to bring on a legendary editor here.
Yep.
You may know who we're bringing on. I think I've got.
And quite the fisherman himself, and who's probably fished out of more different brands of kayaks than all of us put together.
Yeah. Let's bring on Rick Burnley. There he is. Rick Burnley.
Hey, guys.
Mr.
Good to be here.
Editor of Kayak Angler Magazine.
That's right.
So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself here, and then we're going to bring those other guys on here in just a minute. They're waiting patiently in the green room here for us. So let us know what you do, what you do for a living, and also how you help Kayak Angler Magazine. How about that?
Yeah, like you said, I'm editor of Kayak Angler Magazine, which requires collecting the stories and planning the magazine and collecting the photos and putting it all together and sending it to our designer, and then they lay it out in the magazine, and then we go through it again like a fine-tooth comb to try and find any errors and stuff like that. It's a labor of love for sure, but I've been doing that for a long time, and really lucky to have that opportunity. I tell people that fishing is my job, and my hobby is teaching high school English to at-risk youth here in Virginia Beach. So I do that for fun. So I'm a full-time teacher, 12th grade English this year. Wow. And I also editor at Saltwater Sportsman Magazine. I've been doing that for a lot of years as well, and freelance a lot, and try to stay. The busier I am, the more I stay out of trouble. So
what do you do with the rest of your day?
Yeah, podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. And, hey, we want to give a shout out to Malone Trailers this week too, Keith, because that's the weekly sponsor, right?
Yeah, Malone is our bracket sponsor and a new partner with us at Kayak Angler and Paddling this year. So pumped to have them on, and they are getting ready for the Canoecopia show this weekend. So we are going to have someone from Malone, Steve, I think his name is, going to join us next Tuesday on here and talk about Malone. And they've got some pretty cool new releases coming out this weekend, actually, which I probably shouldn't talk about because I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. So you can wait till next weekend.
Embargoed. It's embargoed. But
it is.
Hey, Rick, we really appreciate you being on here and do you know either one of these guys that we're going to bring on?
Well, I've known Drew, of course, and met him and talked to him a lot, worked with him a lot over the years. He's, always been a great resource for kayak angler, and always so generous with his time and his knowledge. So yeah, and Chad, this is the first time I'm meeting him, but I was watching his video earlier today, and I definitely want to catch up with him after the show and pick his brain on some ideas.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're going to bring those guys in. I got to add Drew in here. I think he was still getting some things done at home there, but let's bring these guys in and see what we got here.
Now, and speaking of Malone trailers, Chad's kayak sits on one of those, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably talk for 10, 15 minutes about Malone trailers. I've probably got 30 or 40,000 miles on that trailer.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I've got a Malone as well, and I have to give him a shout out too because I had to upgrade my trailer from the high model to the low model so I could wet launch my electric kayak, and they were super helpful in getting me the right parts and getting them on time, and keeping me alert or keeping me in the loop for when the parts were available. And honestly, it all went together pretty well. I only drew blood a couple times, and but that was my fault, not theirs. And it turned out great. So yeah, big shout out to them for sure. They've always been a huge help, and I've also had my Malone for I don't even know 10 years. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Malone's
I've got one coming up to me up here actually too, so that's pretty exciting. And so anyone down in Canoecopia at the show this weekend, go check them out at their booth. And also to Malone, they are not only one of the bracket sponsor this week, but they are providing one of their carts as part of the grand prize with the Hoodoo kayak and the Newport motor and the Guardian Angel lights and all that fun stuff. So.
And by the way, I did an article for Wired to Fish on trailers, and Malone was part of that article. So if you guys want to find out some great statistics on it, go to Wired to Fish and look up kayak fishing trailers, and that article will come up. You can see more of it too. And of course, Kayak Angler Magazine does some stuff like that too, right, Rick?
Yep.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
All right, that's Drew. Welcome. Look at that.
Hey, oh wow, there we go.
There's your daughter. She doesn't want to go to sleep yet, does she?
Yeah.
Trophies and kids.
Yeah, she's not really. Yeah, you guys, Keith, you spoke too soon, man. Talking about the kids in bed, they did not go to bed.
Sorry,
my
man.
wife is on a girls' night out, but she'll be home any minute, so maybe she can get them to go to bed. They were so close. I almost had them. Anyone with a young ones knows how it goes. But then my dog barked right at the wrong moment, and she was almost asleep. But anyway, this is Sophia, so you can hang out. Do you see yourself, Sophia? Do you want to wave?
Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Sophia. I heard you were just down in Florida for a bit of a vacation and saw some manatees.
Yeah, she was. She can't hear you because I got the headphones on. But yeah,
right.
We were in Florida. We saw the manatees. We got some cool drone footage, and it was a fun time for sure. A little break from everything. After we put on the Kayak Adventure Series down there, the Ocalapalooza event, which Chad knows all about those. He's a trophy holder for last year's Ozarkana event, so it'll be fun going up against Chad, who's a really good guy in the industry, and had a lot of fun hanging out with you, Chad, at that event. So it'll be fun.
Right? Oh yeah.
So okay, we're good. All right.
Congrats on that too. We got lots of great reviews from Ocala. It looked like an awesome time.
Very, very cool, man. A lot of huge fish were caught. I don't know if anyone's seen Robert Weiker's post, but the week after the tournament, he caught a 26 off the bed. And it's enormous. We'll probably post it on. I think we have the video and everything. He caught it off the bed. He was filming with his GoPro Max 360.
Wow.
He's got he caught 3 bucks off the bed first before the female would get on the bed. So he's got the whole video, and we're gonna share it.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. But yeah, it was a good time, and I think other kayak trails should definitely hit up that area because giant bass live there in those lakes, and it's just such a great area. It's beautiful horse country, the rolling hills, and in Florida, you get the warm weather. You're far enough down where you start getting that real nice warm weather. So it was great.
Well, both of you guys, here's what I Now, we've reviewed a lot of the kayaks that have been on recently here, but with you two guys, there is, I would say with you two, your kayaks are an extension of who you are. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's
I
a
mean,
pretty stark contrast, I think, between our styles.
right. They're contrasting, but they are who you are. Like Chad, I look at yours, all the intricate little details on it, and then I look at Drew. Yours is made for what you do in the shallow areas and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how that goes. And so we here in a little bit we'll play a little bit of your video, about a minute or so, but we encourage people to watch those because that's how you learn. By the way, we have a lot of people that are telling us how much they've learned from these videos.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And that's going to go a long way in promoting some of these products as well. So Rick, you got anything for them?
As far as like comments on the videos on their kayaks.
Anything you want to say, man?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I was just blown away by both of the boats, and like you're saying, an extension of what each angler does, and also like an extension of their personalities as well. Chad, I don't know you that well, but your boat was spotless and pretty much
Organized.
perfectly
Yeah.
organized, and Drew's boat was covered in mud and also organized, but not quite as pretty. And but both utilitarian vessels, and that's why I always say these tournament trails and these tournament anglers are so important to the sport, because they drive the innovation, and they also their boats have to be dialed in. It's it's their paycheck. So when you look at their boats, you're really seeing something that's not bells and whistles or a bunch of stuff you don't need or what have you. It's really amazing to see how much time spent on the water. That was especially with Drew's boat, how much time spent on the water in that boat. And it's like an old pair of shoes. The more you spend time walking around in them, the more fit in they get. And this is here and that's there, and it was really impressive. So
and
kudos
Rick,
to both of you.
You bet. Have any of these two influenced what you want to do or will do with your kayak?
Well, yeah. So that's part of the
Which
the
kayak?
yeah. Well, the next issue of Kayak Angler we're devoting to the ultimate kayak build, and kind of going along with this YakOff competition. But I got a bona fide PWR 129 and a Newport 300 and a Motor Guide XI 3, the old package, and the Helix Mega live and forward facing sonar, and batteries and the whole 9 yards. And it is so valuable to have these, because where we are right now in the motorized kayak continuum is everything is out there to build the boat of your dreams, but none of it is like prepackaged and ready to go. In other words, you can't just walk into the kayak dealership and walk out like I could walk into the Ford dealership and walk out with a Ford car and drive it for 10 years, never really have to do anything to it. With the motorized kayaks now, you got to get the kayak, you got to get the motors, you got to get the electronics, then you got to figure out not only how you want to use it, but how you're going to install all that stuff. Everything's there, like the through hauls from Yak Attack and other, places. And, it's all there. And then you also see, especially on both of these guys' boats, there's still a lot of bastardization going on there too. Like, I look like some like maybe lamp parts on people's boats and pull strings on Chad's lure retriever.
Everybody comments about the lure retriever. It's awesome.
That's something else. So there's still a lot of do-it-yourself kind of spirit to it as well. But everything is there. Everything is available. But I'm telling you, the building this kayak, it took me 2 months of weekend afternoons and after work afternoons, and trips to the hardware store and trips to the boat store, and Amazon packages coming in the mail, and new tools. I mean, it was quite an odyssey to build this thing, and it turned out great. And I do a lot of speckled trout fishing here in Virginia Beach, and so I really built it kind of for that, and for kind of to really focus on our tidal fisheries for speckled trout. And
Yeah.
and on the first few trips, that forward facing sonar is just blows your mind, and totally changed my fishing game. So in the end, it all turned out, but I tell you, it was a heck of a ride to get there.
Good.
But
Good.
speaking of that, though, in the next issue of Kayak Angler Magazine, Rick documented putting this whole thing together and everything. So it's going to be pretty cool to.
Wow.
I haven't seen it or any of it yet either. So I'm pumped to kind of see everything he went through and how he got there and why he made the decisions he did. Just like the YakOffs, right?
Yeah,
So,
we talked to a lot of other anglers as well, and
Yeah.
and people who design the kayaks and people who design the accessories. Kind of what are the trends and how are people using these things, and everybody's doing it different, so you get 100 different perspectives.
Now, Drew, let's go to you here for a second. When you designed, I remember back in the day when you designed the Jackson Coosa,
Mm-hmm.
and I was all over that. I was the first guy to get it out of the Colorado store when it first came out, because the big thing with that was you can stand up in it, and so my kids stand up in it. Anyway, then you come up with this Crescent Shoaly. Both kayaks. Tell us what went into you designing it and the why for that, and then why you use it today.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about the Coosa and talk about standing up in it, because I think today people would, even the Shoaly, some people are like, that's how big and wide the kayaks are now. They're like, you stand up in that thing? Like, you really can? And they don't think they can. And, to me, it's like this perfect medium, because it's this perfect happy medium. But because if a boat's so wide and stable, you can stand in it so easy, it just feels like a boat. Then guess what? That sucker is weighing 150 pounds and it's on a trailer, and it's no longer, meeting my needs of why I got into kayak fishing to, go to places that boats can't go and launch places boats can't go, so the Coosa, the Shoaly are very similar in that, they're just stable enough that you can stand in them if you have just a little bit of coordination and you want to spend a little, take a few trips in. It's like riding a bike. The first time you rode a bike when you're 5-6 years old, you just thought you were never going to get it. Training wheels and whatnot, and you're wobbly. Next thing you know, you take those training wheels off, and a few rides around the neighborhood, and you're jumping over curbs, like going, like left and right, crazy, and never even worrying about falling over. And that's the same way it is with a kayak. And I always encourage people that, in demos, when you go and demo a kayak at a retailer or a demo day, it's like you're only paddling that kayak. You're not dragging it out there. You're not toting it. You're only paddling it for around a few hundred yards. And the bigger and wider they are, the worse they kind of perform from a paddling standpoint. And it actually applies to a motor as well. It becomes slower and worse there. So I want this perfect happy medium. Hey, Sophia, do you know about kayaks too? You want to sit here and just be quiet for me just for a minute? Okay, you can still wave at the guys if you want. But yeah, that's kind of where the whole genesis of the Coosa, the Shoaly, all of them are kind of in that. I want to keep the kayak, you know what I mean? But still be able to stand, and anyway, and light enough to access those hard to reach places. But you were one of the first, man, that were early adapters for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then I'm going to switch to Chad here for a second. So on yours, Chad, before you had the Old Town, because you were fishing out of a boat from what we gathered.
Yeah.
When you chose that Old Town, what went into you choosing that, or did you just happen to come about by chance, or did it fit what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I think I'm an example of a group of people that are getting into kayak fishing that is not really from what Drew's talking about, but these are guys that are used to fishing out of boats and they're tired of the expense. For me, I fished boat tournaments for 25 years, and I just got tired of everything involved with the boat, the maintenance, the expense, and the kayak offered me the ability to compete in bass tournaments without having the extreme expense of a bass boat. And the autopilot was attractive to me because I could fish out of it like I did out of a bass boat. I had the trolling motor. I had the control of the spot lock trolling motor, and it was stable enough where I could stand up even in really rough water and cast. I mean, I know it sounds funny for a kayak angler, but I don't like fishing sitting down. It's not comfortable for me. I like to stand and fish, so that platform fit me and what I like to do. So, um, I know it's not like the traditional kayak fishing that a lot of people think about when they talk about fishing out of a kayak, but you know, so real quick, I got to say this is WAP.
WAP.
And when I went to the Kayak Adventure Series tournament
Yeah.
down at Poplar Bluff with Drew, I
Mhm.
stayed in a campground on Lake Wapapello, and this dude was living in the campground. He was a stray. The people in the campground
Nice.
knew him. He had been there for a while. He had mange, and he was in really bad shape. And we ended up bringing him home and adopting him. So we named him WAP after Lake Wapapello. It's
Awesome.
kind of a cool deal.
Dude, just give Chad the trophy now, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
I
not
can use
fair.
all the help I can get. So
That's
all the
awesome.
dog
Okay.
lovers out there.
Yeah, yeah, he saves dogs.
No kidding.
Drew's like, Sophia, come back.
Yeah.
do something fun.
Yeah, seriously.
What's funny though is you guys know Frank Scalich.
Yeah.
Yep.
He picked up a cat out of it and took it home.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna call my dog Spunks, who we rescued at Tennessee. I'm serious, in the woods in Tennessee when we were holding a river bassin event. We rescued that one from there. And the other dog, I should call Elsie down here. My wife, we were at Outdoor Retailer, if you remember, back when that was a thing we all went to, and it wasn't so much ICAST. And they were walking around with dogs to adopt there. And my wife, of course, got sucked into like how cute this dog was, and she's like, come on, let's get this dog. Anyway, we literally adopted a dog from Utah, and they fly it back to you. So anyway,
Oh wow.
It's too late, Drew. I got in there first.
yeah, you did. You got in the dog first,
Awesome.
But I think Marty, you got to take advantage of this and plug your doggy tournament. Come on.
Okay,
Yeah, you do.
absolutely. So, guys, you got to hear this real quick, and I hope those that are listening to hear this. We are offering, and Drew, you especially love this because of how you've started and how you fish, is we're having this doggy paddle event, and of course, Keith helped come up with a name, and we call it the doggy paddle. It's paddle only, so Chad, you got to take your motor out and paddle only, and it is to raise awareness for dog adoption through Hearts United for Animals. We have one here by Auburn that has 220 some odd dogs. And I volunteer out there and walk dogs, and they are the coolest dogs ever, man. And some are out there for life. Like, you remember the movie Toy Story, all the broken toys and stuff are in that one room?
Yeah.
It's like that when you walk in these rooms, they have these dogs. One's blind, some have one leg missing, and they take care of all of them. And they stay there and they live there. They do not put any down. Okay. And I'm sorry about my computer dinging. My son drove from here to Omaha in that blizzard. And that's another story, but he made it. So him and my wife are texting, and I can't control this thing. So anyway, but thanks you guys for doing that, because we're just trying to bring awareness for these dogs that don't have homes, and they're such great dogs. And I could tell, Chad, that dog loves you, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's such a good dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to be a smart dog to live in that campground for weeks, maybe months by himself and survive and not get in trouble. And he's turned out to be a great dog.
Yeah.
The entry fee for Marty's doggy paddle tournament is actually dog food for the shelter.
Yep.
So it's very cool.
And so what we're doing with that is, because they get a lot of food there too. What we're doing is, like, Chad, if you went there to adopt a dog, they're going to give you a bag of dog food to take home with you. That's cool.
That's very cool. I actually just finished up signing on. You guys heard of Blue Storm? The PFDs, and they make some dog PFDs. So I just was looking at those today, because I just kind of signed on with them today to wear their stuff. I've been with Stolequist for about 5 or 6 years, but anyway, that's pretty cool. I saw those PFDs, and I'm gonna have to get some of those for my dogs, and that's a cool thing you guys are doing up there for sure. And I think my wife hopefully is home. So I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. My daughter said she was home in the driveway, but I don't know if she's here or not.
Here's the deal, Drew. My son is texting with my wife while we're talking, and it's beeping out my deal. You got your daughter. You got it. So it's just life.
Okay. It's life. Exactly.
This is our first. This is the first podcast with dogs and daughters.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I did want to say though, to get us back on course a little bit about
Yeah.
Chad's comment. I think it's awesome, dude. I think it's incredible that kayak fishing is able to pull boaters, with those bigger kayaks that kind of look and feel a little bit more what they're used to. That's amazing because I think people misunderstand, they know my style and why I got into kayak fishing and how I fish. And I think it's amazing that, the kayak can do not just the skinny, shallow stuff that obviously a boat can't do, but we can take these things. And I fished in the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic, the Pacific. I fished in the middle of, obviously lakes like Champlain, places like that are huge. It can do that and go places that boats can't. So it's like the best of everything. Plus, with the rule set and the way you can launch a kayak from any public property around a lake, just when you're just fun fishing. And in tournaments, we still have lots of launches we use, or in KAS, you can still launch from any public, access anywhere. You can cover the whole lake still, and you don't need to spend all the money in the gas and all that. So I think it's awesome. Plus, the side thing, the reason I think it's awesome is because I don't want everyone fishing the same way I do. So good on you, Chad. We could definitely we could stay at a house together. We would never I'd never encroach on your water. You would never encroach on mine.
Yeah.
You're the perfect housemate for me at any national tournament. So we'll keep that
Yeah,
going.
man.
Bassmaster coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll be at Lake
And-
Fork.
Yeah.
And like Chad, like you said when you were talking about your old town, that it's not the way that a lot of people think about kayak fishing. That's what's cool about it, because it doesn't matter. That's how it works for you. That's how it works for Drew. That's how it works for Marty and Rick and me.
Yeah.
Just to do it, make it your own thing. So you can have the same exact kind of canvas and make it a totally different boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it appeals to like two whole different sectors of people who might get into kayak fishing.
Yep. So I'm gonna switch here to another screen. I'm gonna get I'm gonna try to get Drew in here with us somehow. There we go. He's coming. No, I get you in there, Drew. One second here, and then
I'll mute me while I try to deal with these.
There we go.
so we have the site up here, and we're gonna go to your bracket, of course. Here you can see the bracket where Ethan Jett, Austin Hoover, they're gonna match up. They both won. Jake Suvak and Chad Hoover. Now we're on the other side of the bracket, and you see Drew and Chad here, and you guys can vote for the one that whatever you want to vote for, and there's perks in there for you get more votes for clicking on links and so forth in there. And anyway, what I'm going to do though is bring up where down here there's the picture of each of you. Of course, Drew has a smallie and Chad has a gigantic bass from probably Missouri, right?
Yep.
And then Malone
Shoalie, but anyway.
The shoalie bass.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And then for those that are voting, remember there's a $3,400 package. Look at that. They got a Hoodoo kayak, a Newport motor, battery, Guardian Angel light kit, and a cart that they can win. The winner's going to get that. And you can see here where people have been X'd out that are out, and those that are still in are there on it. And they're still all contributing. And then there's an about part. And then so we're going to go to your matchup here, which this week's matchup, and it's easy what I like about this, Keith, is it's so easy to.
So we did it. So when you go click on about 55 different areas of that landing page, it'll take you to the voting page.
Yeah. That's what's cool. It's easy to vote even on your phone. So Drew, I'm going to play about a minute of each video, not from the beginning. I looked in here. I'm just going to take a little section out. And you
skip to the middle, get to the meat.
Yeah, you can see kind of what the kayaks look like here, guys. But please watch these entire. They're really good. They're cool to watch because Chad, both of you guys gave me some great ideas on my Swiss Army knife that I have.
And to the audience out there, Marty. I say this every week, but when you watch these videos, if something piques your interest or if you have a question, contact all the anglers on their socials that are also underneath where all the anglers were that Marty showed you on the homepage.
Yeah.
It's got all their links to their socials. It's also got every single product that they have on their kayak, what it's called, the model, and where you can get it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that here.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you see like Chad, there's his sponsors, and it has a link to the sponsors. And then Drew, his sponsors, and link to his sponsors. This is set up so clean. and it's just amazing how this is done. And this is going to help so many anglers that are getting into the game or want to up their game to that level of type of kayak. So here's Drew's video. I'm going to go to the middle here.
Itself, which isn't even made for the shoalie. This is your normal high seat position with the normal size chair, and this is the low position down here. The high position, it just gets you a little bit higher, but it doesn't work with this kayak.
Go here.
Full of all the Z-Man stuff pretty much, and that's that glow chartreuse glow and chartreuse tail minnows I was using on that spinnerbait. And underneath here, you'll notice I got 2 Plano boxes of the hydro foils. I actually like
those. Go a little further here.
I have it in there in a little toolkit. And then the next bag here, I won't even need to get into it, but it's just my GoPro stuff, ibuprofen, just a few extra things for the GoPro for filming. A net, which I should have used on one of my fish, goes right here in our YakAttack. It's sort of a taco style paddle or rod holder. Or net holder, obviously. I use my net there.
That's pretty
cool. I'm
going
to throw it out of the way so we can see all this back set up a little bit better. And speaking of boondocks right here, I've got the boondocks landing gear set up and the riser for the YakAttack black pack, which is cool because I can stick more stuff if I needed to underneath there. But I'm trying to keep my boat light for this event. And actually, during the event, I didn't even use the black pack. I stripped it down as low and limited and lightweight as I could. But that's the smaller size black pack, which I prefer. I've even got the Crescent, bag here.
Drew, you even took off your weed cutter off the Newport or off the Torpedo.
Yeah, yeah, you noticed that. I took everything off.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you really trimmed it up.
I wanted to ask you too, Drew. We're going to get to Chad's here in a second too. I have a Crescent shoalie as well, and almost identical to what you've got for a setup. I didn't think to put a riser for that black pack. I'm using those little tiny, what are those called? The YakAttack boxes, the little ones?
Oh, the short stack.
Short stack or the track pack?
No, the little tiny ones.
Oh, this
track pack.
Yeah, track pack.
Packs. I've got 4 track packs mounted on the boondocks.
Yep.
For lures to keep it light,
right
on there. So, good idea though. That's a great idea. So,
I just want to keep it light and stripped down. That's why I'm not so. I don't know how my style is going to fare in a competition like this, but it is true to who I am and what I do, and I definitely am very big in mechanics and and I actually was like a NASCAR pit crew. Again, that was a walkthrough of the shoalie, the Crescent shoalie that I used to win on 10 Killer on the Bassmaster Championship. Yeah. So, I mean, I stripped it way down and super lightweight, and I went one day to the lake and actually just changed trim on the Torpedo and changed different things about it and adjusted weight and just kept trying to find ways to get faster and faster and faster. Yeah. And I got it up to about 6.7, 6.8 miles an hour, which was great. But anyway, the mechanics, for me, and everyone's different, right? So Chad's going to be completely different here, which is cool. But if you watch KVD throw a crankbait and you look at any Bassmaster Elite or Major League Fishing Pro, no one has rods sticking up all on their bass boat. Why?
Yeah.
They could, but why don't they do it?
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do the proper mechanics for a cast without it with rods sticking up, which is a giant helicopter looping using your momentum cast. And I'll never trade mechanics for my casting with how shallow, like a shallow water angler like myself needs accurate cast, because you're hitting visual targets most of the time. Yeah. And if you don't hit it just right, man, you're not going to catch that fish. Or as many, you got to force them to react. So anyway, that's kind of why it was all stripped down. That's why I don't have stuff sticking up, and it may not, look as cool as Chad's or anybody else's in this competition, but it definitely fits my style in so many different ways. So
now, Drew, let's backtrack just a second, Keith.
Yep.
10 Bassmaster titles.
Well, 10 national titles, but 5 with Bassmaster. So averaging, I guess, one a year.
And 3 of those were in a row. So that's obviously your kayak is getting you to places that you want to fish and catch fish.
Yeah.
So your platform's getting you there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right.
No, all good. I was just going to say the whole point of it just came out naturally right there. But Drew's fishing out of his shoalie. You tell him you have the same one, and you've been kayak fishing for a long time. Yeah. And you just saw something that he did that you didn't think of that you can apply to your boat. That's going to enjoy how you fish and what you do, right?
Right.
And that's the whole point of this whole competition.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to Chad here. let's see what Chad has on his boat. Let me get to the middle part here a little bit.
Throw loose items during the day, like
It's gonna be cool.
weights or super glue, just anything I want to get them out of the way. Moving to the other side of the kayak, I have my phone holder on a YakAttack mount, mounted to an upgraded YakAttack gear track. And then below that is my catch board. I like to measure my fish on the floor of the kayak sideways. I find I don't lose any fish this way, and it's easy to keep them in the boat. And then after I'm done, it just slides right back up underneath the track for the steering control pedal for the rudder. And it's just out of the way, and it's a really great spot for it.
Wow.
That's nice.
The net just sits in there. This is a Ego S2 slider net.
It's all about nets.
Just sits there on the front of the kayak. This is a great net holder.
Isn't that, and also that net, Chad, you took the paddle holder and removed the wheels, right?
Yeah, that was kind of an accident. One of the wheels fell off, and I figured out that the net just sat in there great without the wheels. So that's how that happened. But
we'll do one more segment here. Look at this.
10 rods I can take. And then in these crates, I like to use Plano edge boxes to store most of my lures. They're waterproof and very durable, so I don't have to worry about my baits getting wet.
And also there, Chad, you said you ordered 2 milk crates off of Amazon because they're cheaper and they serve what you need, right?
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. You know, it's all this fancy stuff, but then you got the crates because they actually work better for what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
And while we're talking, I'll go through some of these pictures here too, show these guys. And Chad, do you use, Chad, in those containers, do you have those little packets or they keep moisture down?
So those Plano edge boxes actually come with like the little desiccant packs built into them.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I have the ones that came from the factory.
Yeah.
But it's kind of religious for me when I get home. If it's rained or anything, I open up all my boxes and let them air out in the garage just to keep rust and everything down. But
now,
from watching your video, Chad, at how organized and clean it was, I can imagine you taking care of your lures pretty well.
I watched Chad one day for 6 hours working on his stuff with his kayak at Gunnersville. I've never seen anyone more meticulous. I'm done with my rigging in a few minutes, and he's still out there. Oh my! And you look at it, and there's it's like secret doors everywhere. But anyway, Rick, another idea that I've thought about pondering for writing would be how guys measure. Chad does his a different way than other guys. Some of us sideways. Some they grab their board, flop it on there, and take the picture while holding it. There's so many ways to take a picture. Some guys even go to shore and take it while they're at shore because they want more stability as well. So that's another unique way, Chad. I don't know how you do that because that's just so awkward for me to try that.
Well, yoga, that helps. But I mean, I'm a pretty small guy. A lot of people comment about how I do my fish measuring in the boat, but I mean, I've had well over 200 events in the last 4 years, and I have never lost a fish off the board in that kayak. So that's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
See, Chad, you say that, and then I think, yoga mat sponsorship next YakOffs.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's I like that too, Chad. That's a cool way you measure them there. So you've kind of DIY'd that, and that's kind of your idea, doing it on the side there. And I don't see how they could really get out. That's perfect. I mean, those boats are so wide and stable. You can turn, your body easily and just get that shot without having to even contort too bad. But do I get any credit for maybe not. I mean, I designed the Shoaly with the catchboard resets in there. So come on.
Very cool.
I didn't DIY that, but I did, originally when I designed it. So maybe I'll get some.
That's another segment is that a kayak that has it designed in the kayak, the board kayak. Because I'm gonna tell you guys, in the early days, the very first tournaments that happened, we're out there with the hog troughs, and I'm
we lost
the
boss.
Blizzard took out the satellite dish. Oh no.
Yeah, who knows? But I guess if we're still here, I was gonna say, I was joking. I'm trying to scratch and claw and get any points I can against Chad because his setup is really sweet. But anyway, I was gonna say, so it's like if anyone else has a shoalie, they can't get credit for the catchboard recess. You know what I mean? They couldn't get credit for that. But maybe I'm like, hey, maybe I can get credit because I actually did design the boat.
Totally.
They would just be like, oh, well, that was in there, man. You didn't do anything for that for the YakOff Awards. You don't get points for that. But hey, maybe at least I don't know. But
Sure.
in all fairness, Drew, I mean, I'm going up against one of the most well-known kayak anglers in the entire country on my first round, so I don't think you really have to worry too much. But
yeah, well, hey, man, I'm gonna be worried about you. I know you're a hammer on Lake Fork, dude. I mean, because you're one of the best in the country, and I've never fished it. I don't know if you have. I've never fished that lake, but I'm looking forward to hanging out with you there, seeing you. We got to go grab dinner and hang out at some point and catch up.
I would love to do that. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I've never been to Lake Fork either. I pretty much stick to Missouri and like kind of the Midwest just due to time off of work and travel expenses and stuff. It's just easier for me to fish a lot of the local and regional stuff. I can fish more events, and rather than fish one national event, I can probably fish 4 regional or local events. But I am excited to be able to go up against some sticks like you.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. It will be. I've been doing a lot of research on the lake, getting excited about it. I've never fished it, but people are like, dude, how in the world have you never fished Lake Fork? But we're just here having a YakOff, awards conversation about our styles and our kayaks. Yeah. And to me, I've seen that lake so many times on live with the elites, with the Major League Fishing. It's almost like I've been there, done that, and I know the main lake has just got giants in it. And there's really no big river or creek that feeds it. That you can't really go up and get away from any bass boats on that lake. So I'm like, I just doesn't really appeal to me. I feel like I've already been there and done it, first of all. And then second of all, getting away from anyone in a kayak doesn't really give you any advantage to that lake. It's actually worse. If you look, the main lake's got the biggest bass. So, I've just never really been intrigued to go there. But now I'm kind of, obviously forced to go there with the championship. I'm not going to miss that to try to defend,
I
the
think
title.
you should just stay home, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have fun though. I know we'll figure something out. You and I always tend to, everywhere you go, people in Missouri are like, oh man, Chad's here. They know you're gonna be a contender. So I think, you and I will figure something out there, and definitely won't be staying home for this one.
Yeah, it sounds like Lake Fork is just about ready to hit that magic time where it's going to bust loose right around the time we get there. All the fishing reports I'm seeing online and stuff says that, they've had some cold weather like most of the country has, and everything's just kind of been hanging back, and then it's just all going to bust loose when we get there, I think.
Yeah. Do you, I'm sure you do, because based on your setup, do you live scope much?
I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with live scope. I feel like I need to have it just because if you can have it, you should. But I don't really like using it, and I'm not the best at using it. But I use a lot to probe for structure and cover and bait fish, and I'm not really shaking a minnow in front of a bass's face with it. It's pretty hard to do that in a kayak.
Yeah,
but I do use it.
If there is a kayak to do it in, the autopilot spot lock would be a good one for sure.
Yeah.
So you got a good vessel for it. The only reason I ask is, obviously everyone's watched the 2020, what was it, 24 Bassmaster Elite Series on Fork when that was kind of what dominated. They were there in late February, early March, I think, the very first days of March maybe. And that's kind of how it was won. So we will see if the shallow stuff will turn on enough for my style, but obviously I got to try it, right? I mean, that's all I know. I'm going to stick with my game plan and what I do best instead of trying to randomly, go out and learn something new and different and become some sort of electronics angler, which is, why I got out of boat fishing to begin with, is just to get into wild places where I don't really need that. And I can, just see, I don't know. I want to be staring at a screen, it's just me. I don't want to be staring down at a screen when I'm trying to get off these things as little or as much as possible. So, anyway, that's kind of why I got into kayak fishing, to get away from TV and screens and just get outdoors. And now it seems like it's turned opposite, right? Where, the technology is so good to win at the highest level in the boat world, especially.
Yeah.
You can still get away with it in kayak, obviously, at least I've been able to, but your neck's just down like this, and it just doesn't really intrigue me. So if I can still keep winning and being successful my way, I'm going to stick it out as long as I can.
I don't
And
think
you're
live scope will
obviously
ever
having fun.
dominate like it does in the bass boats
Yeah.
compared to the kayaks.
Mhm.
Kayaks are just, they move too much,
Right.
and it's just too difficult. You can definitely use it and have some success with it, but the way they use it on the Elite Series and stuff, that's really difficult to do in a kayak.
Yeah, and maybe these bigger kayaks will be helpful, the heavier, bigger ones, and newer ones, because I mean, I don't know. I think that there's not as many. You also have to think about this. There's not as many anglers who are really as good as the guys on the Elites that are fishing the kayak. There are some. I mean, like just a few, and those guys really know what they're doing. They're dialed, whether it's a Ewing Minor or Rolando, people like that. Oh, she is? Okay, I guess she says Mama's home. You think she's home? Okay. Well, anyway, I'll try to see if my wife is home. I don't think she is, but my daughter thinks she's home. But anyway, you guys chat amongst yourself for a second, and I'll see what's going on here with this situation.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll mute this.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Chad.
It's interesting to see, the MOYAC here in Missouri is one of the largest clubs in the country. And there's quite a few people that have the autopilots, but there's also a lot of people like Drew that just like to fish rivers. They want to get away from people as far as they possibly can. And you see both sides having success. So I don't think there's a right way and a wrong way. It's just whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yep.
I found success, fishing the bigger water, and not to say I don't sometimes like to go way up a creek, but I don't think I go nearly as far as Drew does. And we have a guy in our club that still fishes out of a, Academy Sports Pelican with a paddle and a tackle box and a couple rods. And he's one of the most decorated anglers in our club. So, there's no right or wrong way. Just get out and do it.
I remember the first time I met Rick was down at ICAST in Florida, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we were just getting to know each other and chatting about our kayak. What do you fish out of? And I'm like, actually, one of my favorite boats to fish out of is the Ocean Kayak Trident 13 from back in the day. And Rick was like, "No way! Every time one of those pop on sale, I buy that kayak. I have a bunch of them."
Yeah, I've got like 5 of them in the backyard because they don't make them anymore. That's the boat that I fish out of most often. But I'm a coastal angler, and it suits my needs the best. And it's also heavily customized with just little touches that kind of make it a little bit more dialed in for what I do. But everybody's got their perfect craft.
I started with an Ocean Kayak Caper. Remember the Caper?
Yeah. Good boat.
That was the very first one I ever bought. That's the first one. I had 2 of them, and I was standing in it, and it's got the little different slots for your feet to go in, and they're kind of angled down, so they aren't perfectly flat. Which is why when I designed the Kusa, I obviously designed a very flat area to stand, because that one didn't have a flat area, and I was still standing in it. And it was so light, because they're very thin. They're made more to be in the open water in the ocean, so not rocky rivers, right? So they were not really the right exact perfect boat for where I was going, but they were super lightweight, easy to get in and out of the rivers and creeks, and they would last a few years before they get a hole in them. But they were perfect. I could stand in them, so that's kind of what started all this, honestly. So. It's pretty
they
cool.
actually make a good river boat because they have a shallow draft, and you can spin that thing in a 180-degree circle with the paddle,
for sure. I will say also about Texas, Chad, just got to bring this up too, in case anyone's interested. I know are we waiting for Marty, or did he
he's snowed in.
He's lost power, he says.
All right. Well, I will shout out to was going to shout out Marty. We're about to post a really cool article up on the Kayak Adventure Series website of the top lures that he did for us. So I want to thank him for that. He's going to be doing that for us at the Kayak Adventure Series this year. So Chad, you would have been a part of that last year if we had him doing that, but it's really cool. He does it for Bassmaster as well. And he's done an incredible job. And the anglers did just an amazing job getting some really good photos, like close-ups of the baits they use to catch those big fish at Ocalapalooza. But speaking of Texas, when you and I are going to be there, Chad, afterwards, we will be holding the Paris Reel Fest for the Kayak Adventure Series. It's a one-day shootout. If we get up to 125 people, we'll give away $10,000 to the winner. If they were filming with a GoPro, that's our $10,000 GoPro guarantee. That'd be really cool. So I did want to shout out that because I can click on, well, I don't know if is Marty the only one that can pull in video?
Yeah, we can't adjust it. It's on Marty's side.
If I share a screen, it doesn't do anything, right?
No.
It won't do anything.
You can look at it.
Let's try it.
I don't think so.
Does that come up?
I can see something, but I think Marty would have to click it to get it to go up onto the.
Okay. So yeah,
drag and drop or something. Yeah.
Yeah. If you aren't admin logged in as admin, then yeah, you probably can't click it. But anyway, if you go to kayakadventureseries.com right now, and then you can click on /special-offers. Today, GoPro literally told me they will give. This is actually for the rest of the year, but you have to buy a GoPro or $100 worth of accessories with the special offer between now and March 8th. And if you buy a Hero 13 Black or a Max, the GoPro Max 360, you're going to get $100 off an entry fee for a Kayak Adventure Series entry, which is actually more than the team division entry, which is $75 a piece. So you could actually get a free entry into the team division. But if you do that, if you just want to get the new small Hero 4K, the small one, the really cool teeny one there, it's like it's like $200, $180, something like that. Or if you just want to buy $100 worth of accessories, they'll give you $50 off Kayak Adventure Series entry fee. So for you guys looking to fish any of the Kayak Adventure Series events, and of course, if you got a GoPro, you qualify for the GoPro guarantee. And if you've been on the fence about buying one, if you buy one now, whether it's a $350 Hero Max or whatever it is, you get $100 in it, and off your entry fee for Kayak Adventure Series events, and you could use that at any point. But just between now and March 8th, you got to buy. But anyway, go to the website. You can click on under the tab for anglers, and it says special offers, and that's where it is. It's super easy. All you do is email us which event you want to, you want the discount for, and we'll put it in and send you a discount code to Attorney X, and then GoPro is going to cover the cost, so we can still have the full payout, of course, at the event. I did want to shout that out as well while I was on here, as we're just kind of chatting anyway. But speaking of kayaks, last thing I did want to say, I was going to bring this up to Marty too, that I do have a new kayak coming out very, very soon with Crescent, and I think you guys are going to like it. So I'm excited about that one. And maybe one day someone will be here with the YakOff Awards with that one. But as you know, with me, it's a very, simple, lightweight, good for throw and go. I'll just leave it at that. Won't give too much away. Throw and go. It's a little smaller, than the Shoaly. So that's probably.
When is that going to be released, Drew?
I've seen production ones already done. Okay. So they're making them now, but I don't know. It depends on when we get everything in order and able to get them out. I would say it's going to be like, late March or April or something like that, somewhere in that range.
Sweet. So you'll have it up there for iCast
very soon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We don't really Crescent, and I say we don't really go to iCast, but I may even have one with me at the Bassmaster Championship just to start getting content in it. So I think you guys will like that one. And like I said, one day, maybe, who knows, it'll be considered. Someone will do some cool stuff with it, and they'll be here, getting voted on for a competition like this. But anyway, what else do we need to cover? Do you guys want to cover while we're?
I have a story. So I was at work. Just one of my buddies at work. He was talking about crappie fishing, and he was telling me about this tool that he found online for, like, you get hooked, and it can help pop the hook out. And I was like, the de-hooker tool? He's like, yeah, that's it. And I was like, yeah, they're sponsoring this deal that I'm in for the YakOff Awards. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. Just randomly out of the blue, he was talking about the de-hooker tool.
Yeah, he was actually, if you guys saw 2 weeks ago, Captain Mike was on this podcast, and he did it live on the shows. stuck a hook in his arm, which is not the first time he's done it, and yanked it out on the show. And they're a presenting sponsor of it, and he's doing really well. They're actually coming out with 2 new versions of the tool, which I won't chat about yet, but they're going to be released in the next couple months, and they're pretty cool. He's been a great supporter. We've been giving away tools. Marty and I just did Smitty's podcast about 2 hours ago tonight and gave another one of those away, which I guess I should tell him I gave another 3 tools away. But
that's cool. I got to check that out.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah. So it's the human dehooker tool, and I was telling, for those who don't know, all the 16 anglers, Drew, which is why I was asking you for your address over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
And now I got it.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
So all the 16 anglers within the competition are getting 2 dehooker tools sent to their house and 2 Guardian Angel kayak light kits. One for them to keep for themselves, and then one on their own social channels to use as a giveaway for someone in your audience. So you got them on route right now, so I know they've been shipped.
Dude, I am so excited about this. I'm looking at it right now on the website. That is so cool.
So if you haven't seen it yet, go to the treble, triple, double, and no, better yet, when you go on to the YakOff Awards and vote, because they're a presenting sponsor, you can earn extra entries to win the grand prize through the viral sweep thing. And one of them is watch the treble, triple, double dehooker removal, because Mike takes a 9-inch spook and takes 2 of each of the 3 trebles and buries them in his right arm, and he pulls them out 6 hooks left-handed, and the whole thing's on video.
Wow.
It's like queasy to watch, actually.
That is cool though, man. Like that tool is genius. That was something that's been needed big time, because we all know about the braided line trick.
Yeah.
And that is awesome.
For kayak anglers, you're in the boat by yourself, so you don't have somebody there to do the braid trick.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need something to get the hooks out.
So Rick and I, last year at ICAST, met with Mike there, and he actually has been a 30 plus year doctor in the ER down in Florida. And he's also a boat captain, so he has some fishing experience, obviously. And he actually made that over the last 3 years from a Stanley screwdriver set from like a Canadian Tire, we would call it, like just an Ace Hardware store. And he soldered ball bearings on it and was playing with different things. And he developed this tool that now is totally patented, and he's got big companies coming trying to buy it off him, and he's just investing more and more into it and developing more tools. And he's in Western Marine and now Ace Hardware and all over the place. Won't be long before he's in some of those Bass Pro and all that stuff. But check it out, dehookertool.com for sure. There's another plug for you, Mike.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I want to get in touch with them about, even promoting that through Kayak Adventure Series and giving a few away, because that's for safety's sake. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the way I fish, and it gets kind of crazy and wild in those rivers and creeks, man. And next thing you know, a hook is somewhere, and I've been hooked many times. I would feel so good. My wife would feel it better than I would. Trust me.
Didn't you post one of your anglers in the was it the last tournament that had a hook? It was on. I think it was on the Kayak Adventure Series.
That's right.
And it was on his lap, and he took the picture with the hook in him still.
He did.
Yeah. I forwarded that to Mike at dehooker. He commented on it.
I can't remember if that was. I can't remember who that was.
It
might have been Seth Taylor who got,
because the comment was, "Would you still have taken the picture first?"
Yeah,
because he was measuring it with these. Yeah. He's like, damn it.
Yeah, so Jake Hepner does a great job. IL Illinois Yakin, IL Yakin on Instagram. If you guys want to follow him, he's like kind of our social media guy, producer, whatever, executive producer, this whole thing with me, and he got that clip from, I think it was Seth Taylor. And that was a really cool edit, like, would you still have scored this fish?
Yeah.
And then obviously, he got, having that tool would be critical. So,
well, there's 2 on their way to your house now that I have your address. And I will hook you up tomorrow with Mike at dehooker. He'd love to support the Kayak Adventure Series. Cool. I like giving away other people's stuff for free, so no worries.
Yeah, I carry one everywhere I go. I hope I never have to use it.
Exactly. I said that when he was on. I'm like, it's like having a fire extinguisher under your kitchen sink. you should have it, but hopefully you don't have to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like Mike said, the only thing about comparing it to a fire extinguisher is when you use your fire extinguisher, you got to pay to refill it, and this thing is just good forever. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're pretty much at our hour here. Marty, we usually do a giveaway here at the end, but I don't know how to do that without the answers coming in.
Hey, I got one thing. I do see a comment over here. What are the chances of KAS coming to the New River in the future? Well, hey,
all right,
Justin, you probably weren't watching the live stream for our awards at Ocalapalooza, but at all the Kayak Adventure Series stops, we announce future stops. And we already announced next year's brood stock, so 2026's finale, which is going to be in Clarksville, Tennessee, Cumberland River. It's a journey on the Cumberland is what that one's called. Brood stock 3, Journey on the Cumberland. And that'll go, the boundary will go almost all the way to Nashville, and then the other direction all the way, all of Lake Barkley. But anyway, the other one we announced, Justin, was the New River event, our New River Revival. If we didn't announce that one, then I guess I just told you now. But either way, I think we announced the New River Revival is what we're calling it, and that's going to be in Pulaski, Virginia. So that's next year. So have a Virginia event this year at South Boston, Virginia, and then one next year, which you'll get water of the New River all the way down. So basically, Pulaski is at Claytor Lake. So you get the water feeding Claytor Lake all the way to basically the North Carolina border, and then you get the water inbounds all the way downstream, which is north of Claytor Lake, all the way up to almost West Virginia, I guess. But we let anglers fish about an hour. So Justin, your wish has come true, my friend. And all you have to do to thank me is just give me one vote against Chad. That's it.
There you go. So yeah, the way we next week actually is Marty's week to be in the YakOffs. He's up next week. But the way we kind of end this, and I'll just do a kind of a double giveaway next week when Marty's back and hopefully has power back by then. But the way we usually kind of end these is to have Chad and Drew each take center stage here for a second and talk to the audience and make your kind of pitch here, because this project is gaining steam, and I've never been on so many podcasts in my life, and it's been fun, and we're getting lots of support and lots of people watching. So tell us all why your kayak is yours and why you should be the one moving forward this week.
Yeah, well, thank you, Keith and Rick and Kayak Angler Magazine. This is a great contest. You guys have done a phenomenal job setting up the website, and the voting and everything is very streamlined and flawless, really. It's been a lot of fun. And, going up against Drew in the first round, I'm, up against a Goliath right here, but I just, my kayak suits my fishing style. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want a kayak that's stable. They don't have to worry about flipping over, losing all their gear. I can't imagine ever flipping over that autopilot. It is heavy, but you can take whatever you want, take as many rods as you want, all your tackle, and you have the convenience and the control of the autopilot trolling motor. Old Town is known for quality and reliability. You're going to get a kayak. I've been fishing out of this kayak for I'm going into my 5th season, and I don't have to worry about fixing it. It's very reliable, and it allows me to stand and fish all day. So there's a lot of water out there that it gets rough. You have wind and waves, and I like knowing that I'm going to go out and I'm going to be safe and I'm going to get back to the ramp with all my gear. So it's a great kayak, and if you like it, give me a vote. I appreciate it.
Sweet. Right on. Thanks, Chad.
That was good. Yeah, I mean, similar to what Chad said in a lot of ways. I mean, we've talked about it the whole show. We each have a kayak that's suited for our style. So, if people want to, vote for the one that's got, I don't really know what the criteria this really is. If it's like, I don't think it's the one that has the most gadgets and all that stuff on it, but it's like, do you respect or appreciate the fact that even though we have all this cool stuff, and maybe my sponsors don't love me to say this, but I actually think they all would want me to be true and honest. And the reality is I don't I resist the urge to, like, for example, Chad's got the YakAttack phone holder, he said, right? I like that product. I've used it. It's cool. But if I can have one less thing on my kayak and keep it in my life jacket pocket and then, click my photo that way and have it tethered there, then I'm going to do that. So I've kind of resisted the urge of society and everything with the bass boat world too. It's like, you got to have this, you got to have that, live scope this, you got to have the next that. You really don't for my style. You know what I mean? So in my style, actually, you need less. You need much less. Less is more. So it's about being like super savvy and smart and dialing in your bite and your style. And in my particular, is shallow water, backwaters, and what those fish, eat. And so you can pare everything down so small and minimal, so you can still access places that a kayak can access to get you to those fish. So, I guess if you just respect that each of us are doing our own thing in our own style, then kind of vote. However, we might get the votes, Chad, on how many people like, our different styles. It may have nothing to do with the kayaks as much as, our styles are so polar opposite. But either way, we both have great setups for what we do. And you're one of the best, man. Can't wait to hang out with you in Texas. And best of luck on this and at the championship. And thank you guys for putting it all on, because I'll echo everything Chad said. It was just all put together so well, incredibly well executed. So thank you guys for doing that, because nobody forced you to do this. No one forces a lot of people in our industry to do anything, right? But you just had a dream and a vision and you went for it. And there's a lot of respect for that. Even if a kayak design or anything, that somebody DIYs, something flops and fails, you always have to respect people for going out and just going for it. You know what I mean? And trying something. And
throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, right?
Exactly. So appreciate you guys for that.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not about the most expensive, the most gadgets, the whoever's got the biggest sponsors, or it's a lot of it's about, honestly, about all of the anglers here pumping this out and sharing it with your fans, because your fans are going to appreciate what you're doing, and they're your fans because they like the way you fish and who you are and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The big thing is, I could care less who wins this whole competition. I just want the engagement to keep going as it is, because it's gone way better than I've expected, and anglers are happy and brands are happy and all the audience seems super happy. I'm looking at all these comments today. We're getting a ton.
Yeah, it's been
Marty's even chickened out and pretends his computer's frozen and he's gone fishing probably again.
He's in the comments. Yeah. I thought about putting the, it didn't work out because it was during the winter and I couldn't get it out, but I thought about putting up the Shoaly I have that's rigged out with those dual power pole blades. You know what I mean? The actual 4-foot blades.
Yeah.
That went viral on Power Pole's site, because that would have been a cool, but people don't understand, if it's a shallow water tool, I want to have it. You know what I mean? So I'm obviously blessed to have multiple of the exact same Crescent Shoaly. So I've got one set up for those Power Pole, which I'll have at Lake Fork. I'll be using that for sure. But I'm actually building a whole new build out and set up. So I changed mine. Like, I don't know if you do this, Chad, much or not, because open water is kind of open water. You know what I mean? It's all just open water. But I had a separate build for 10 killer, going up the river, and I have a separate build for Lake Fork that is I've never done anything like this before that I'm doing. That is I'm not going to talk about it now because it's before the tournament, but it's a really cool special build out. I have like all these separate build outs. Even what Marty said, when I was winning some of those Bassmaster tournaments back in the day, when we didn't have like designated launches and stuff, which really causes you to have a motor, I was still paddling, and I had a whole build out that's literally the anti build out, where it's like there is nothing on this kayak. It's just a paddle and nothing. Like, it's the lightest weight thing ever to be able to access places. So it's kind of fun to doing what I do.
Yeah.
But you get to make like a separate, complete build for this exact body of water, or this exact body of water. And I got a new one. So it actually keeps me on my toes here. And it's not so boring, even though I don't have as much cool stuff as Chad's kayak has.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really fit my MO, but I have a Old Town Salty PDL out in my garage, which is Old Town's lightest, fastest PDL drive. And that's something I can just throw in the back of my truck, and I can take it to the river or little pond or whatever. And I do like fishing out of that. But for tournaments, I pretty well stick to my autopilot.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Old Town, by the way, because you guys over there have been incredible. And, Ryan, Lily, they're actually donating the the kayak for the Paris Reel Fest, the Kayak Adventure Series event that Sunday after the Bassmaster Classic Sunday. They're actually donating that kayak for autism awareness through the Autism Anglers that we're going to raffle off. They were a sponsor of Kayak Adventure Series last year. So love those guys at Old Town, and shout out to them for sure. Make some of the best kayaks in the industry. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm voting for yet. Or if I could vote, it's a toss up for sure. Chad, your boat is, I think, really an example of what can be done with a motorized kayak, and making it look like it came out of a factory and dialed in like that. And I mean, Drew, I was watching your video and I'm like, this is like this is looking at the champs, vessel here. It's like looking at Earnhardt's NASCAR, Tyson's locker. I mean, I felt like we're not worthy, to see how that boat is set up, and just imagine all the days that you've spent on that thing, and the fish that you've caught and all that. So yeah, it's a toss up for sure.
Just remember the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way.
I'm a cat person.
Yeah. WAP. I'll never forget WAP.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I'm to blame, really. I put on that event, and then you rescue a dog. So it all comes full circle. It's back still to me to blame for losing the competition if the dog is what causes me to lose. So well. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciated everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And yeah, Drew, I'll hook you up with Michael tomorrow from The Hooker, and he would love to for sure sponsor the series for sure.
Love
100%. Right on. Anything else? Rick, thanks for your time, by the way. I asked Rick to join us last night, so that was pretty awesome. He was able to fit us into his schedule. And
hey, we go way back. So that's good to always talk to Rick. Hey, do you guys even logged in as admin? Can you even end this live stream? Or is it just gonna
I don't think we can turn it off.
No, we can turn it off. We just all exit out, I guess.
Just turn off the lights of the house.
Yeah.
There'll just be kids and dogs walking around everywhere.
You guys are all going to leave. I'm going to stay on and just keep trying to gain votes like us. It just stays live.
I think Marty gets charged by the minute too, so that would be kind of funny.
All right.
All right, guys. Great seeing everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys too. Take care. Good luck. Thanks, guys.
See you.
Bye.
I have no clue how to get off here. Just close it.
Never get his teeth going here.
We just close it, chat. Just you and I. See you, man.
Yeah.
Let me get out of this tab. How to get off here.
Oh, now I can get in.
Just close it.
Never get his teeth going here.
See you.